The true ending has finally been revealed. Goku left with Zeno in an emotional ending to Akira's original work. This story will blow your mind, and I'm sure many of you have never stopped to think about it. The ending that Master Akira dreamed of for the story is really far from happening. This is because Dragon Ball is expanding its audience. An audience that used to be more mature and from the old days has now become a juvenile audience, which is very good for the anime because it shows that the story has been adapting and evolving, not remaining stuck in time. After all, we want to show Dragon Ball to our children and grandchildren, so for them to be interested in the anime, it is important that it adapts to current times and modernity. This perfectly explains characters like Zeno, Zuno, Manaka, and Whis. The personality of these characters is very psychologically pleasing to a younger audience, as they really have a captivating charisma. To begin with, it is important to compare the two original endings of Dragon Ball. First, the Z ending, which is the canonical ending so far, then the non-canonical ending, which is the GT ending. At the end of Z, Goku leaves with Ub in order to train him so that he can become the new defender of Earth. At the end of GT, Goku leaves with Shenron so that Earth won't have any more problems because of him. Both endings are not the final point of the work. Akira didn't want the story to end in any of those ways, so think with me, the story goes far beyond those endings. The end of GT can be disregarded, but not discarded, because Toyotaro revealed in an interview that the story will go far beyond the end of Z. And we know that after the end of Z, all the GT events took place, where the work ends, canonically, and everything that comes after this, until now, is something parallel, that is, everything, after this specific period of the work. Between Boo's death and the end of the manga, there are 10 years. As we know, DB Super takes place in these 10 years, that is, within DB, therefore, before ITSEND. So far, there are DBGT, DBO, and Nico Majin Z, as official continuations, however, parallel to the work. There is no canonical continuation after AG 784, but we hope that Super or another Dragon Ball that considers the events of the 10 years, which Super showed us, will be produced and show something beyond the END. The only sadness is that Toriyama's mind will no longer be behind the production of a sequel. However, one thing they can do is use some elements of DBO, as has already been done in Super, such as Satan becoming a film director, Tenshinhan opening a training dojo, elements of DBO, which were taken to Super. Toyotaro can create stories and use some elements from DBO, thus keeping Toriyama's ideas alive, such as Boo giving rise to a wife and the Majin race. But let's see what Toyotaro said about the end of Dragon Ball in the interview. Open quotes. The goal is for Dragon Ball Super to reach the end of the Dragon Ball manga, that is, in the last chapters, in the 10 years after Boo's death. The story has to happen, and everyone will end up there. The story will go until where Dragon Ball ends. However, you know, even Akira Toriyama didn't know the end of Dragon Ball when it started, and we don't always think about how far we want to go. Well, that Super will reach the final point in the history of the Dragon Ball manga, like end of Z. This is practically certain. As you can see, the end of the original work is there and IT was not disregarded, as many claimed in the past. However, we see that, at the end of this comment from Toyble/Toyotaro, it already seems to leave it in the air, that it may even have a chance of, who knows, exceeding the final chapter of DB. Now, that Toriyama has passed away, we don't know if it will stop just when it gets there or if it will continue beyond that, but we hope that Toyotaro continues this, giving us a new ERA and good sagas in the period. And the superhero saga is already close to this period. What do you think about all this? Don't forget to comment, subscribe to the channel, and leave your like. I hope to see you in the next video. I went.